tap that at the end of these two. Yeah, so that will not compile because there's all of these new target values and target errors all over the place that don't have a value. But, oh, come on. It should be at least relatively straightforward to fix in this file, because this is pretty much the only file that has constructors for this stuff. So if we look for a new target, we actually should see, it actually looks like that might be all of them, so that'll be good. StructuredLogger. Do I have completion? Let's go and see. So CSE didn't like, oh, good. Didn't like the last time that I launched any of them. Yeah, I don't think it's picking it up. No. Okay. Fortunately, we can just go and look at the thing. So log bubble StructuredLogger is here, push pop reset. Okay, so do I have an empty StructuredLogger? It's just an empty one of those. Okay, so let's just do empty StructuredLogger. There we go. Something to steal my keyboard. Here. So now we've got that, which we can do StructuredLogger.empty. And hopefully that will, at the very least, give us something somewhat useful that can be kind of pivoted on, where since we're pure here, anyway, we're just doing the creating a new target value out of nothing. We have no logger entries to associate with it, so we pretty much, that's the only thing we can do. The interesting thing here is, though, is that if we're looking at app, why it keeps stealing my keyboard focus? So if we're looking here at app, we have two targets. We have the function target and the value target. I presume that we would include the StructuredLogger entries from the function first before the target. So we'll have to sort of accumulate those here. But yeah, we got one fewer error. Oh, and no type defined for StructuredLogger, okay. Target line 73 type StructuredLogger not found. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Oh, structured. Okay. Typos. All right. So let's 18. We are moving up in the world. Let me actually get my Twitch going on my phone so that I can have access to the chat in a more useful way. Yep. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yep. There we go. Cool. That is good. All right. We want the those? I don't know. Anyway, point is, we've got enough arguments for constructor target length 14. Yeah, so this is what I was saying before. I think that we need to unapply it makes sense to have both of these values in the unapply, so we can do that. And that will make things a little bit easier, because then we can start yeah, well, that's another thing though, log entries. We need to actually have an accessor for those, so we create that. So now you can come over here and do the same thing for the error. Okay. So I think that will get us where we need to go. Okay, so let's look again at StructuredLogger, push pop, reset combine. Nice. Because we're using monoid, so I guess we can just use FL FA. I don't know if the TIE Fighter is the thing to use here to do monoid combination, but oh, that's 25 is not much more of a problem than I thought before. Okay. Oh, the reason that we had a sudden explosion of errors is because now none of the pattern matches match anymore, so that's why. But looks like the TIE Fighter was what we needed, so that's good. We need to actually do let's do that. So we can just do this conversion all at once. Let's do actually maybe this one. We just need that, 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 and then a close paren, so we can then do back 1, comma, LA. Oh, I said FA before anyway. I wanted AL, I think, for on line 15. So we can just do the, no, I wanted open paren in there as well. So target value, open paren, and then nothing. Yeah, so this will do LA, 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 LA. New target value from what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and fix all these, I think. But it'll be easier to fix when they at the very least have all the same arguments, so that'll be good. Okay, let's, now we can actually come through and say StructuredLogger.empty, because we're, ooh, flat map on us. So this is actually not true. This is target error. Because I'm here, I just want to do log entries and also log entries here. CoreTarget error. CoreTarget does not have those yet, so we have to get rid of that. Target value. So this should be target value recover error 2. A is just log entries again. New target value. We're doing a map, so we haven't accumulated any new log entries, so just use the same one. We don't actually have a new log entry here. Flat map is going to, this one's going to need to have, yeah. This one's going to need handling. I mean, the simplest thing is just match value A is going to be target value A entries typefader A, and then the same thing is target value. Target error ELA. Target error E log entries. Okay. So I think that we can actually use this. And no, flat map doesn't work, and errors don't do flat map that way, so this should be sufficient. Going back up here, all those are just those values, so target error, so if we're doing traverse, so that's, here's another one. FA match those things, pure target, pure. So it's not pure anymore, because this is just target value with a B inside and LA inside that. FA, on the other hand, oh, because we're applying that. Okay, cool. So we lift our target value into the applicative context, and then we use apply to apply the target value. May need to do target B in here to constrain the type. But anyway, that's interesting though. This pure, this is the constructor, so this is a B to target B. Okay. And the same thing for target error, all of those things, and we just pure directly. This one I don't understand. Oh, because LB, because we're in fold right. Okay, good. We don't need that. This is going to be eval, so we're actually getting rid of target entirely for fold right. Which I don't know if that's correct, because we should be supplying both values. I don't think there's anything we can really do here. I think fold right and fold left are getting rid of their structured logging context in order to kind of fold the values out. So it kind of makes sense, but it's unfortunate. Meanwhile, tail rec, this is going to return a new target. So this, again, is going to suck. We have our target LA here. New target value. If we get a right, we just exit with whatever our value is. Meanwhile, if we get a left, we want to continue with the recursion. That means another one we use. Target error, LA, and then we have another target value. This is where LA TIE Fighter and then target value is the same with LA TIE Fighter. This is LA twice. Oh, and also applying the TIE Fighter inside the, can't read. Okay, so let's do LE, so LA plus LE. LA here is, I guess LE again, because that's also an E for some reason. Doesn't matter. What matters is up here. This is, yeah, I think that this is, I'm going to find this pattern repeats itself a lot. Probably going to want to deduplicate one of these, but that's okay, because it's going to happen in a bit. LA, LE, whoa, wait, hold on, it's too far. Yeah, okay, let's do this. So FA, LE, LA from here goes to LE, LE from here plus LA. So there's that. Target error, on the other hand, does nothing. Let's see if that worked. Okay, 20. Stay here with push logger, structured loggers. This is actually really easy. This is just value. So that's great. Really getting there. So that's cool. 24. D, this is going to be StructuredLogger.empty. Same thing. Target value LA. This is going to come from where? There is no LA. So, oops. Getting there. 42 E. $115. Same thing. You've got to be kidding me. That's awesome. Wow. That's pretty cool. Let's see if it actually compiles, or not compiles, let's see if it actually does what we want it to do. The CLI has some, you can set the debug level in the CLI. Yeah, so log level. So we just find level is what? Level comes from where? Last option, strip prefix. No, levels. Right. So we strip prefix. Yeah, good. Yeah. And this is already inside an LA language abstraction context. So there's, whoops. Great. Yeah, so that, here's the, yeah, good. This comes from here. And actually, I think that this goes away. This bumps up. That goes away. Map left value. No, not necessary anymore. This is just going to be error LA. And we need to emit structured logger error, so LA and then error. Who knows if that'll work, but I mean, cool. Let's see how long. This is actually not bad as far as stream sets go. So that's good. So we needed the implicits because we're using the TIE Fighter. We're using empty values in places where we are creating stuff out of nothing. I still want to deduplicate all of those match statements. And then we edit that and the, yeah, so that's good. Tests all still pass, so that's great. I did not want to have to dig around in the test harnesses. So let's do one more, which is what's the more common operation? If we have a target, I want to prepend logs, I guess. So if I have two targets and I want the logs from one to go into the logs of the other, but I guess this is going to be on return, probably most commonly. So I don't want to end up in a situation where, for instance, here, the only thing we're doing is accumulating the logger entries. What I don't want to do is I don't want to abuse monoid in order to say something along the lines of if I had X and I said X TIE Fighter new target value, conceptually, okay, the monoid could just apply to the logger entries, but yeah, I think I just realized that I should probably just put this over here. Maybe easier to actually read the test output. So that's good. Yeah, so anyway, we don't want to put these. I think this is not the right. It's too hacky. But if I said this prepend structured logger or prepend logger and then set LA here, I think that that's okay. Kind of makes sense. And then it can just be like this, and then just return target A again. So then you end up with the target value having the definition pretty much exactly of this, where we just say prepend logger that, we don't even need to match anymore because we're just prepending the last logs. It's pretty good. So we just say new target value. Target value with the value and last logs, TIE Fighter log entries. So that's great. We got down here as well. We can do the exact same thing except target error, and last logs and log entries. So now we can actually go in here, reset, so that we can once again see where all the match. What we were doing here was we were combining target value F. It actually makes sense to have this be broken out because we actually have the different cases here. The one thing though is we don't have this apply should take the logs from the first one. I'm pretty sure that makes sense. Because if we are doing that, we are faithfully combining the contexts. So I think that that's correct. And I did actually want to change this FA to LA because that was what I was trying to type. Actually, it's not LA, it's AL. So then that's FL and AL, and that makes sense. And we are not shadowing FA by accident. So that's good. Now, match, look for the rest of these. This FA, handle error with. So if we have an FA, we extract the LA and then just return FA again. I'm not even using LA here. Okay, so same thing here. We are doing this. Oh, we are emitting a target from this recover, but prepend logger with LA. So that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these short names for values, but also my screen real estate is only so far to the right. So we have this target value, we call that, and all we do is LE, LE. All we do here is prepend LA, so prepend logger LA. That goes away. Much nicer. This goes back up here. Cool. We don't need to worry about prepending, do we? Flatnet, do we have an LA? No, because we're just maintaining the new target error. Actually, this sounds a question. Why are we doing new target error? Because this one has type B. Okay, so we can't just, we could cast it, but it's not a super, I'm not super concerned about it right now. So prepend logger already there, right, we just emit the LA, forward left, don't care. Oh, these actually have these, so they should not be. LB, doesn't matter. This one, target value, target error, these actually, traverse actually does need to maintain those. So that's fine. Yep. So I think that that's correct. This one the flat map, all we do is prepend log entries on whatever the output of this thing is. So this is prepend logger log entries. Great. And there you go. So, perfect. Still probably compiles. And does. Okay, and yeah, just gonna add all this stuff. Actually, do I want to add? Yeah, because I'm emitting the errors. This actually, I don't need to do that. Hold on. Let's do that and do that, and then carefully do this. Where instead of that, we are doing bringing back the old stuff. With the addition of this, so we don't want that line, we do want that line, but we're still only going to emit the error here. And that gives us that, which is correct. That preserves the intent of the previous structure. We haven't made any broad sweeping changes. StructuredLogger into target. Good. So now we can come back and there's one. Oops, what did I change? Did I not cancel that? I guess these escaped. Let's take a look at. So these come along. This is where I want to put them. So that's good. Very fortunate. And then this is where we work for. Where I want to go over here. Unsafe extract. We just get the value or and throw away that error anyway. We're actually not trying to do the mounted transformer style of emitting a tuple of the log and the error. So unsafe extract is totally fine to just do these things. In the CLI runner though, this is probably where we're going to find, yeah. So logger here is expected. Previously was commented about. And then we have the logger show here. So we fold result. Yeah. Okay. So fold. This is B. It's folding. Don't like that, but okay. What it means is that what we can do is just do that, and then result dot log entries dot show. I don't like that because it means I'm double consuming results here. Oh, and also this is CoreTarget anyway, so who cares? Put it all back. These paths. The reason is because we are not adapting. So I actually do want this change set, but it means that CoreTarget also needs to be modified. Let me do it real quick, I guess, because it's going to be effectively exactly the same that we had before, except now we have the benefit of hindsight trying to add this prepend logger. So prepend logger, target, structured logger is already here. New CoreTarget value is going to be, this is going to be exactly the same. CoreTarget and target are probably the same structure. We just don't have a way to unify it yet. So I'm just going to keep these as similar as possible. So we've got those and these here. It's going to be effectively the exact same. Left flat map. We didn't have left flat map before. This is error to CoreTarget AA, so this actually does need prepend logger of entries in order to maintain the original logs. CoreTarget value. This is left flat map on CoreTarget value, which is going to be the same thing. Log entries. Value or these don't return CoreTarget, this prepend target, blah, 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 blah. These, okay, good. So raise error is going to be StructuredLogger.empty. This is going to be empty. Okay, CoreTarget error, empty as well. This is going to be .empty. We just don't have anything. We don't have any of these log values. Pure CoreTarget, this uses the applicative instance. So we don't have that. This needs to be value. This goes away, which is great. CoreTarget error is going to be, this is where I think this get interesting. EL, AL. So learning from our mistakes last time, AL here. And EL here, I don't know why that can't just be reused, because this is exactly the same as CoreTarget error. It's just putting it inside. Same thing here, actually, because FA is a CoreTarget A. And we're doing A to GB, so I don't know. Maybe think about that a little bit more, I guess. Probably using the applicative instance of, I don't like the prefix calls here. I wish these were infix. I think it'd be easier to easier to read if it were infix. Yeah, whatever. Not right now. Yeah. So AL. Oh, these actually don't matter. Same here. These don't matter. This is tailrec M, so this is going to be prepend logger. EL. So this is going to be EL tailrec, and then we prepend EL to the end. It's not tail recursive, but whatever. We'll find out eventually, I'm sure. And this is why this E should be A, or maybe B. Anyway, so if we have CoreTarget error, then we just return the same structure. sense. FA goes to either AB. Okay, so the type inside CoreTarget has changed, so that's why we have to create a new one. CoreTarget error here as well of EL. We don't actually use CT. A is going to be AL and logger AL. All right. New error, structured logger empty. CoreTarget error is going to be EL. CoreTarget value AL is just going to be returned, I guess. This is the thing that's going to handle your append logger EL. So that's great. This is structured logger empty. So let's see. I think 2 structured logger is going to, or 2 CoreTarget is going to have some problems. Maybe that's going to be somewhat minimal. CoreTarget line 15. CoreTarget error has. Oh, oops. Apply CoreTarget error. A and structured logger. Same thing here with. That's wrong because this should be structured logger here, and this should be that. Thanks. Log entries. Okay. Same thing here with the unify there. This is going to be that. Going to be a and structured logger. So confusing. Why does it show completely unrelated things to my project? I cannot figure out what the type of that anymore. 43, because previously we had actually, I think that we had actually created this by accident. Adding the type signatures here. So, go team. So, too many arguments for pure. Pure doesn't need. That does make sense, I guess. And so that means that we don't need this one either. So log entries. Log entries number of. So log entries is not a member of that. You're right, because CoreTarget. Logger here, and then this goes on to cool. 212. And correct. And then we've got our target as expected. Okay, and this is going to have log entries there, and this is going to have the exact same thing. Man, that'd be really cool if this works. Abstract sensitive prevent logger. Oh, we had it. I guess not. We can just crib from this one, I guess. Prevent logger, prevent logger. This is going to have that one, and it's going to have this one. So, the last thing we need is, oh, we've already got cats implicits. Great. Yep, this is great, because we have target. but that's okay. I guess we can CLI. Let's do, sure, should be good. Let's test how fast that actually runs. Well, first of all, does it run at all? And then second of all, let's see what it looks like when we have the debug. Fingers crossed. Why? Why? Here, fallback paths. Let's also do result wise paths. Okay, from paths as well. StructuredLogger is just empty, despite having debug on. I wonder if combine empty combine. I am confused. Push, pop, and let's look at so you've got this push logger. Let's look at what this looks like. We actually are doing real work. Then let's look at logger. And logger has these. Let's do function. So actually we can do this too. Can we check to see whether or not let's see whether or not this will construct in the first place. Okay, we have one, and let's do results, and then do this. If I do that, have a vector with 2 entries in it. Sure enough, we do. So that's good. So somewhere along the line, this is actually getting lost. Log entries is. Log entries here is empty. As you can see, we just have this empty vector, which is just too confusing. I wonder if log entries, so this is a successful value passing log entries over. Same thing with CoreTarget with error. Handoff maybe. don't want to print, yeah, sure, you can print there. The console print takes a really long time to flush, so I don't want to have to wait for the entire execution to finish before testing the next thing. So this should give, ooh. So this is really just comes down to, so the result, why? Why? Because the result has logger vector. Doesn't make any sense because we're already here in Target. It's going to be staring you right in the face, I know. To CoreTarget, this has log entries. CoreTarget value has the same log entries. Recover. This one. Error to AA. This is log entries. It's missing from here. Should not have caused a tremendous issue. This is pure. Because we're applicative, we don't have any insight, we don't have any knowledge there. Fold, we've got our, both of those are empty. Raise error. Target instances, because we don't have a target. We're creating a target. Create. This is the same. We're creating more core targets here. And that's all we have. That's really baffling. We're losing log entries right before this thing. The result comes from core args, fold map, flat map, fold map interpreter, flat map. I also need to switch from vector to chain, I think, for log entries because we're doing all this prepend stuff, so it's not going to be very efficient. The test is going to take 30 seconds to run the Scala or the Java ones. We could do some sort of definition of result. What is that? Why? Result. No. I don't have one. A is defined here. It's not a result anymore. It really is not. So I think I might change the file mid-flight or something like that. It's somewhat disappointing. Oh, I know why, because it really is. Result is used here. Log level needs to be up here because show needs to know what log level it's running at, and there's no reason for it to be defined below result. That should work. Okay. We'll run our so at least CoreTarget list of that. Don't think that we have running, which is reads by growth list of those things. So we just CoreTarget list reads by growth. So yeah, CoreTarget. So we're traversing over traverse. Read swagger. So we are running the read swagger unsafe right tree left flat map. Also could also got this. So CoreTarget raise error. First, oh wait a minute, hold on. Why are we resetting? Well, that may be the issue. Because if we reset, what's the state of the world before we reset? Because CoreTarget and Target used to have different instances of StructuredLogger. So it's possible that that reset was for CoreTarget's StructuredLogger and not for Target's, but even that didn't matter. I wonder if left flat map, let's look one more time at yep, and see left flat map. Let's see. Wow. So we've got one other thing that we can check, which is if we get a StructuredLogger reset, then we just don't reset. Let's test whether or not our history is getting reset, or whether or not the empty vector is not being, where the vector is not being propagated. Vector's not being propagated. So there's that. It's somewhat interesting, I guess. So combine entries, empty. I mean, the tests for this still run, so that's good. We haven't actually done 5L. Okay. I don't know why that's still Swagger, but okay, so we have that. And we have, let's do this is along plus 3. Backwards, I think, because it's been a while. Yeah, so there's that. And that value. Let's see, extract should show us 8. Okay, good. So we've got now okay, so we've got nothing. But if we do log prepend logger, actually we can do this even simpler. We can say target function add 3. Right, so we end up with that. And we should have target log function. We've got push add 3 and then pop. And we actually have target log info low as well. And so we can actually see here that we've got push add 3, pop, and then add, which is not right, I think. Let's extend the function all the way over the end. Yeah, so that should have push info pop, and then we can say show. It's going to complain because we don't have an instance of the log level. Now we have a show. Sure enough, we do, which looks good to me. Looks like we have to write a more robust test for this. So I'm going to go on mute for a little bit, and then I'll be right back. All right. Well, I have returned, and all right. May need to step away again, depending on whether or not the crying stops in the other room, or rather starts. Because right now he's going down to bed. So let's see whether or not we can figure this thing out. So when we left, we had this structure, so we could actually target log world. So we end up with this sort of structured logger thing. Log info. So just to sort of explain what the whole structure of the structured logger, the whole point of this thing is. Log function. I don't know, whatever. So just to give some context, we've got this hello, and then every function that we push actually ends up pushing onto the stack. And so it creates this sort of tree effect, which is why it's a structured logger. Now, the thing that's interesting is that this should, I mean, it looks like it works. It does seem to work. But for some reason, let's kill half of this because we don't need it to go completely crazy. For some reason, by the time that we actually get to the end of CLI, log entries is empty, which is undesirable and unexpected. So here's a question. So this run languages, and then we are going to run the read swagger, which maybe run languages by the time that we get here. It's already over. Let's look at read swagger. So we have a read swagger that emits a target T. So if we run this thing, we emit a target T. So rs path absolute, all of these things. This is where the toCoreTarget gets called. I'm pretty sure that we've actually printed in toCoreTarget and confirmed that toCoreTarget actually has the values. So from here, I mean, maybe it's CoreTarget's flat map. So CoreTarget is this FA, and then CoreTarget value. So we're getting the log out, we call FA prepend AL. Same thing with the CoreTarget error, so it really shouldn't be an issue. Tailrec as well. If there's an error, we just propagate the error. If there's not an error, then we match the left and right. If there's a left, then we prepend the L. If there's a right, then we, it doesn't seem to really hold water. I'm pretty sure that we did this. Sorry. I'm pretty sure that we did this one. Entries. Just to be sure. Let me actually also make sure that OBS is okay, so looks good. I don't have any hotkeys or anything set up, so I don't know what anything looks like. Okay, so that's fine. Now the question there is CoreTarget value. This would be baffling, but again, I just don't understand. Well, actually, I wonder if, so we've got this monad error. This is the flat map here. A to FB, so this FB prepend logger CoreTarget. Yeah. Also, before this gets too crazy out of hand, I'd like to get the at least what we have right now. I'd like to get that staged. So we've got that. Right, move the log level up. This is not required. Sure enough, paths result. And then we've got the logger show, so result log entries show. So that should be, let's see, no, not necessary. Of course, that's going to be, no. So we've got those things. That's not useful. This is the actual implementation of CoreTarget with the logger. So we can go back into the console, I guess. Try one thing, which is doing the import log.info, all of these things, instead of doing log entries show. However, what we can do is we can do that dot to target dot log entries. Sure enough, they are actually propagated there as well, so that's good. Let's do that. Can we do pure on it? Yeah. There. Flat map is not a member of StructuredLogger, and it should be import implicits. All of those things. Oh, it's not a member of StructuredLogger. So it's a member of that dot log entries. So preserved. That's good. This should also be preserved. It is. What we can do as well is TLRECM option long target. Oh, actually, so it's not that, it's target 0 TLRECM should be yeah, so target int to option either of those things. I actually don't want that. I want 0 TLRECM target. Why is oh. Well, let's do that then. Implicitly. For some reason, my headphones did not actually attach. Figure that out. Traverse. So that, we've got our seed of 0. If x is greater than or equal to 3, then we can target your right write some simple thing there. Case x is going to be target pure left x plus 1. And that should eventually required target. Target required traverse. There's no string. Why is it string? Tail rec m. A int. B int. 0 start. That's just the start. It's not actually target, so there's that. 3 pure right, not found. Now if x is greater than, there's that. So then we end up with that. Okay. That. Okay. Okay, so found 0, 1, 2, 3. Looks fine to me. So one aspect though is if we've got this core target flat map parse next to core target, I was really hoping that it would be something fairly obvious, but oh, this is actually what it's going to be a structured logger, but what's the actual destructure? What's the accessor? Structured logger extends that. Okay, entries is going to just have, we can just log the length instead of $303, geez. Okay. So after, that's the thing that's just baffling to me. So after this, I'm going to leave that, actually. I'm going to, just as I'm going along, I'm going to leave those comments to see exactly where that drops off, unless it just happens right here, which would be very nice. But there's no guarantee of that. No. Okay, good. So, so the output of read swagger is fine. We map into, okay, that works. So we map there, see log entries. What we want is could be flat traverse. Oh wait, post reswagger handoff 0. Why? What? Oh, there you go. I object to all of this. I'm quite disappointed if this is actually the case. How is map? So it's not CoreTarget's map, it's target's map. Map, log entries, F value, log entries, target error, log entries. The log entries just come from there, they go there. Oh, we've got conflicting maps because this map actually doesn't matter, nor does this flat map. Betcha. That actually may make sense. Because if we are doing the flat map, depending on the implementation of monad errors, default map based on flat map very well could be implemented using flat map and pure. But that doesn't make sense because pure would just create a pure, and flat map would do the right thing to destructure and then append or prepend, or oh, this is now going sideways. App is not a member of Target. Oh, yes. It is, though. 63 errors on what? There's no reason to have app specialized when we also have monad error. async point generator. Okay. Cool. NPC generator. Here we are. There's no cat small in 4 minutes. And this is Java generator. Module. Oops. 1 too far. It is though. So meanwhile, while that's going on, we can look at projects, devs, events, editor. Okay, map. Map. Oh no. No. So we've got that. That reduces a bit. What is core? You could just do it inside core. Grab, no. Core source name. Okay, let's get somewhere. Stream D. Easy best stream implicative. We've got map. By filter, post, eval. It defers to applicative. Oh wait, no, here we go. Flat map, A pure FA. Okay. So we've got pure. We'll need pure here. Target instances, pure is just target A pure. Object to maybe this much crap in here. Applicative target format error with traverse. It'd be funny if this were actually it. Somewhat funny. Okay, now. The reason that we want to do that, removing the custom map and flat map instances, is because I don't actually know whether or not, I mean, I would expect that those would take priority over map, over the monad syntax instance of flat map and flat map, but the problem is that by having two separate implementations, you end up with a situation where if everyone's using the specialized version, if dealing with target directly, then you have one set of behavior. And then if you are trying to use something like traverse or flat traverse that uses a different implementation of flat map, and that's coming actually from the monad instances, then you end up with two conflicting behaviors coming from the same function name. And so you end up with this weird bug, which I think is exactly what we're experiencing here. So while I'm waiting for that to compile, let's look at monad error. Monad error does not define flat map. It gets it from applicative error. It does not define flat map either. By the way, I'm just looking at the map. Nope. Monad. I already have it open. Map is here. The flat map is not defined. Flat map defines flat map, obviously. Why wouldn't it? Yeah. So monad error actually should have come with applicative error, which comes with applicative. So this is redundant. We have to rediscover the world because we've changed the function signatures. No. Drop receive generator. No, more. Let's bring in EC server generator. Drop receive server. Oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. Map is not a member of Target F unit. It's probably true. I wonder what that means. Target F. Oh, did we actually MVC server? Huh. Good. I'm a big fan of the way that Scala C chunks up compilation units now. It's the fact that this did not have to recompile the whole world is just like leaps and bounds better than it used to be. Okay, so we call it generator. 431. Okay, yeah. Implicits. This is finding. Yeah. with the expression method. This is name 431. Package view client generator. Async. Oh, async. Client generator. Oops. Okay. So that required applicate no. I don't think so. So 431. Pure expression takes no parameters. Expression takes no type parameters expected 1. Yeah. Okay. So that's what's going on here is that target when because I removed pure from target, that was probably a wrong thing to do. Because now target.pure is trying to lift target into the context of expression, with the instance being E. What it should be is E pure target. That will work, but it won't. Yeah. Baby steps. Target, new target value, that structured logger empty. Okay, so we have now. Alright, let's try this one more time. Will recompile because we changed the interface for target one more time. One error is down from 5,000 million override app of flat map in that of that app needs override. Why? Oh, of flat map. The plot thinnens. So we've got app, flat map, flat map, okay, so app comes from here, flat map FF, F to map F8, F, that should be fine, because flat map should handle, so this may not be required. Map, on the other hand, is defined in terms of flat map as well, where FA, FB, FA here, FA match, LA, prepended, LA. We don't have anything else because it's just empty. Actually, I wonder, while that's thinking, fold left and fold right. It doesn't make sense because they don't operate. Why are fold left and fold right even here? Because there's no FA, A, B, so B8. It's like an extract. I don't know why fold left is here. It's not part of monad. It's part of traverse. Not part of traverse. Foldable. Part of foldable. Okay, so yeah, but left associated fold on function using the function f. And that's because it's target is traversable. A, B, And it really does get rid of that. So that's, I mean, okay. One of these streams I'm going to end up going through and removing all of these .gets. It's 207 warnings. I'm sure probably 90 or more of those are just from the .gets on Tracker. Yep, sure enough, end up to 0. Now, it's baffling to me, absolutely baffling to me that right here, I'm very happy to have found that, because I would never have imagined that this would have ended up stripping context. Yeah, sure enough, pre-map. Why? Why? Okay, we've got that. Functor, target, map. I think it's like that. No, it's functor. Too many arguments, yeah, of course. Okay, that has. So, go ahead. Turn map. Okay. Where is this map coming from then? It's a core target anyway, it's not a target. Okay. Especially with these many recompiles again and again on top of some sort of common base. I think it's important to be able to get a direct answer from Scholar-C, which is why I explicitly set the value type to long. So anyway, we can look here at functor core target. So that is empty. FA match AL EL. How is it possible that this is empty and this is not empty? All I did I don't even have CoreTarget instances. This. Okay, CoreTarget. Let's try again. CoreTarget dot that dot map. Starting on U. Oops, too many parentheses. So this, that, close that. Okay. Empty. Not empty. Okay. So it's possible for CoreTarget to have entries. Flat map. That on top of target pure. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So using map cause a conflict and figure out exactly where it's coming from. Okay, so monad error. No map in monad error. Monad. Map in monad. Flat map on top of pure FA. If I simply, I didn't want to override actually, I wanted this to tell me, that's why it didn't give me an error. Overriding method map input in trait traverse. That actually surprises me. Map. Okay. Traverse. ID FAF. Okay. That gives points at this. Oh, sure enough. Just flipping right there. Well, you know, something, win some, lose some, etc. At least it's tractable. 43. B to CoreTarget B. What a shame. Needs to work, so that's good. Sure enough, there we are. This is our StructuredLogger with all the debugs and all the hierarchy things, so that's really good. Okay, so now, no, you are not useful, not useful, not useful, not useful, useful as it turns out, not useful, possibly useful, I don't know, useful, useful. Let's grab the possibly useful one as well and just nuke everything else from orbit. Don't care about any of you. Okay. We need to include the implicits that we're missing. We've got these as well. Actually, this is a bug fix, so this should be StructuredLogger to CoreTarget. Sure enough. Okay. Let's do this interactively and then target. Okay. So we start by taking this is applicative target instances. Yeah, okay, so we can take the applicative and where that's target instances here. Okay, so that's why. Oh yeah, we don't even need this anymore. That's why. Geo. Now it's just target instances, and we don't actually need to move everything. I think moving everything just creates much more noise than is necessary. So given that, we can take this stuff and move it back to the top. Pure used to be on top. No, used to be below push logger. Applicative does not actually need this. Pure xt, this used to be txt target t target value x StructuredLogger empty. Yep. So there's that. Together there. Okay. Great. Great. I want to do this on CoreTarget as well. We'll use instead. No. CoreTarget. Sometimes NeoVim is too slow. Oh. That's exciting to discover. Instances. It was already just finding the instances. That's good. Good. Okay, so now, based on upstream master, survey/I, upstream master. So do that, fix up, and then alert support rebase formatting.sh. So this will rebase the current commit on top of master, but it'll apply Scala format, kind of interleaving between all the different commits, which is nice. Actually, it runs pretty quickly too, considering once it kind of gets itself all initialized, it was processing every single file in the entire repo engine. I don't know, probably did half a minute to do 300 files. So it's pretty surprising. There it goes. Let's crank it. I also would not have expected map to be coming from traverse. That was a really big surprise. Absolutely baffling. Cool. So now, given all of that, exciting day to re-enable the logger. It's been disabled for quite a while. Okay, given that, set sample. Let's do some benchmarks. Run Scala example, reset sample, run Java example. So let's see how long this takes. Oh, of course it's going to compile. Come on. Because we reformatted everything, it has to recompile. So chug. So I would be happy with this if we did not lose more than, I don't know, a second of performance, because I think we're at like 33 seconds to run all the tests, and before I commented out the logger it was like 2 minutes. So I think it would be acceptable to go to like maybe 35 seconds, worst case 40 seconds, but there's possibly some performance improvements that can be gained from switching from vector to chain as well. So let's see. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll try. It won't let me actually. 140 seconds to run the Scala. All right. Let's do this. Go. All right. So looks like everything compiled. We had 144 seconds and 150 something. So let's see what we had. We had 140 exactly and 155. 60 seconds there as well. I mean, that's not super exciting because there's all kinds of, and the performance gains could just be due to JVM caching, class caching. It doesn't help. It doesn't help fresh runs, fortunately. Seven seconds. We're going to see it's just be blown out of the water by master, current master. What we may be able to do, just real quick, is to replace vector with okay, cool. So that's 54 as well. 54. Now, if we replace non-vector with non-chain, and also bring in chain. I don't actually know how to use this thing, so we will experiment. Sometime today, even. Vector. Okay. So we've got that. To vector. Yeah. History to vector. So actually that might work because our history could just be 6. Done everywhere. Okay, so numbers and chain. I don't know if this is going to do anything useful. Let's see. I don't even know if they have instances for a chain. Take is not a member of chain. Correct. 61. Okay. Let's delete first. That's odd. So A Boolean. Give me the. I'm so confused. Delete first. If I say is equal to 5. Yeah. But what if I have a chain that is chain 1, 10, and I say delete first? Oh, it actually will do. That's awesome. First append, concat, and delete distinct, drop while. Filter not, find, get. Oh, cool. Well, that's effectively what I want. So I can do history, last. I think probably what I want. Because, oh, good. One fewer compiler from vector, non-empty chain from vector. Non-empty chain from chain. Yep. Oops. Okay, non-empty chain object. Okay, so 3. Oh, I get it. So chain of a non-empty chain of what? From chain new history. So we can do that. Chain object expands to long, blah, blah, blah. Object required string. New act should definitely have been the right structure. New history is what? Non-empty chain, chain empty string. know why this is the way that it is. Because first, and last rather, should give me first element. What in the hell is 73? Why are you chain log level non-empty chain string string? That's the type of the individual log messages. Log level method string, method sequence. Chain empty required string. This is that. Non-empty chain, chain empty, dude. No. Non-empty chain, this is new history. New history, that doesn't make any sense. Could this have just been wrong previously too? Vector empty, non-empty vector, chain empty, non-empty chain. Oh, I betcha. Yeah. Let's try this again in Amite. Betcha that this is not necessary for a non-empty chain. I don't know why they would have a different API for that, but it works. Sure enough, look at that. 89. Is this in render? Can this be slow? This isn't show. Yeah, okay, good. 89. History 2 list y. 2 vector. 2 vector. So, while, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, so sure enough, it doesn't actually have a restriction. This is the same. It's just different. So if we look at non-empty chain 5L, there's one. What? Chain, 2 non-empty lists, 2 non-empty vector, 2 vector. Can I do 2 chain, 2 vector, 2 chain, 2 vector? Okay. You forced me to do that. Oh, 2 chain is not a member of 2 chain. 2 vector. History 2 vector. Oh, history 2 vector is probably the one that's complaining about. Yeah, history is not a member of. Okay. 2 chain 2 vector. Okay. Prefix length. I found long right on. 91. How many true vectors does history need? Jeez. That's crazy. Eh. Why? prefix length, history length, history. History back y. Change to vector y. So this prefix length. To chain. Yep. To chain. Let's see if this is any better at all. At this point, maybe it isn't going to be. We have to bust out the actual profilers. Looks nice. It'd be funny if it was worse. A lot worse. A 5-minute run. $60 seconds. At least it's not worse. Could do, let's think about this. What would it mean to do thinking about what push logger would look like if it were not, if if it were configurable, if there were a way to say push logger only actually tracks any values for the logger. What it would look like to only track those values if the logging flag was enabled without threading a new parameter through the whole code base. Yeah, I don't know. It's not necessary anymore. Oh, wow. Master 61 seconds. Huh. Okay. Maybe that was good enough then. Wow. That is actually quite surprising. Wild. So, let's see, abstract process. Let's use introduced without significance performance. Awesome. Let's do a couple of these. So, water. I wish that there was a way. I wonder if there's actually a way. Hold on. let's close this down. Okay, so SBT is completely stopped. Let's do reset sample, and then same thing with time runs Scala example. So if we do this in a tight loop, actually this is reset sample can be, yeah, cool, okay. Reset sample, oh, that's gonna be in the time though. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be constant. And we do this. It actually does time ls. No show time. Yeah, it does. Cool. So actually do time that 2 goes to Scala timing.text, and we do while for time seek. Actually, we could just do 0 to, let's do 0 to 10. Be done with it. Yeah, so the first one we'll ignore, but then the rest of them should be good. I think I'm gonna let this, I'm gonna end the stream here, but effectively, this is actually pretty good as far as things go. Oh, and I'm also not even on the branch. What am I doing? Yeah, so SBT clean origin clean reset sample, and then do that stuff. So yeah, what this will do is it'll give us some actual benchmarking. And we can compare that against master. See how things go. But at the very least, yeah, I'm running on my branch. Everything should be fine. So anyway, keep an eye out for the PR. Thanks all.